the silent piano in a quiet town outside Chicago, where winters wrapped the streets in white and summers carried the sound of children's laughter, lived a 14-year-old girl named Lily with her grandmother, Eleanor. Their little brick house sat at the end of a narrow street, modest and worn, but filled with warmth. Lily wasn't like other kids her age. While others spent afternoons glued to their phones, she spent hers in the dusty living room, sitting before an old, upright piano. The instrument had yellowed keys, its wood chipped with time, and several strings were slightly out of tune. Yet, to Lily, it was magic. The piano had belonged to her mother, Clara, gifted musician whose dream had been to perform on grand stages. But Clara had passed away suddenly when Lily was only 7. The piano was the only piece of her mother she could still touch. Hey, and every time she pressed its keys, Lily swore she could feel her mother's presence. "Grandma," Lily whispered one night, running her fingers across the keys, "do you think Mom can still hear me when I play?" Eleanor, tired from a long day working at the grocery store, kissed her forehead gently. "Sweetheart, music has no walls. I'm sure she hears every note." A dream to big Lily dreamed of becoming a pianist like her mother, of one day sitting on a grand stage with lights above and an audience holding its breath. She'd seen posters at school for a prestigious music academy in Chicago, the kind of place where dreams were built. But tuition was more than Eleanor made in an entire year. Bills piled high, groceries stretched thin, and Eleanor's hands ached from stocking shelves. Every penny went toward survival. Still, Lily practiced every evening. Neighbors sometimes paused outside their window, listening as melodies floated down the street. Some days, the notes sounded clumsy. Other days, they sparkled like sunlight on water. But always, the music carried hope. The shattered key one cold December evening. While practicing for the school talent show, Lily pressed down on a key and it refused to rise again. She tried another, and the string snapped with a painful twang. "No, no, no," she whispered, panic rising. The old piano groaned, its age finally winning. When Eleanor saw the broken instrument, her heart sank. Repairing a piano cost more than they could imagine. Lily's hands trembled as she touched the keys. "Without it, how will I keep playing, Grandma? How will I make Mom proud?" Eleanor hugged her tightly. "Lily, music doesn't live in the piano. It lives in you. We'll find a way." But Lily stopped practicing. Nights grew quieter. The house felt emptier. A chance encounter, weeks later, Eleanor convinced Lily to help her at the grocery store. As she stocked shelves, a man in a long coat lingered near the aisle, humming softly. Lily froze. The tune was one her mother used to play. "You know that song?" Lily asked, almost in disbelief. The man smiled. "Beethoven. Hard to forget." He introduced himself as Mr. Harrison, a retired music teacher who had moved into town. When Eleanor mentioned Lily's love for piano, Mr. Harrison's eyes lit up. "Why don't you play for me sometime?" Lily lowered her gaze. "Our piano's broken." Mr. Harrison thought for a moment. "Then come to my house. I have an old piano collecting dust. Music shouldn't stay silent." Rising again, the first time Lily touched Mr. Harrison's piano, her hands trembled. The instrument wasn't perfect, but its keys responded beautifully. She played hesitantly at first, then with growing confidence, till the room was filled with notes that seemed to chase away years of silence. Mr. Harrison listened, his eyes moist. "Your mother must have been extraordinary. You play with more than talent, you play with soul." From that day, Lily visited after school. Mr. Harrison became her mentor, teaching her technique, discipline, and the art of pouring emotions into music. Eleanor watched her granddaughter transform. The spark returned to Lily's eyes, and for the first time in years, the house filled with laughter again. The big stage months later, Mr. Harrison entered Lily into a scholarship competition at the Chicago Music Academy. At first, she resisted. "What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?" Eleanor took her hand. Sweetheart, your mother never let fear silence her. Neither should you. The day of the competition arrived. Lily wore her mother's old scarf for luck. Standing backstage, she felt her knees shake. The auditorium was filled with strangers, judges with stern expressions, and a grand piano that gleamed under the lights. She whispered, "Mom, please be with me." When her name was called, Lily walked onto the stage. The silence was heavy. She sat, closed her eyes, and pressed the first key. The melody began shaky, but soon the music flowed. Every note carried her memories, her mother's laughter, her grandmother's sacrifices, her own nights of loneliness and hope. She didn't just play a song, she told a story. When the final note lingered, the hall erupted in applause. One judge leaned forward, his voice firm yet warm. That was more than talent. That was heart. Welcome to the Academy. Full circle that evening. Lily ran into their little brick house, waving the acceptance letter. Eleanor, still in her apron, gasped and covered her mouth with trembling hands. "You did it," she cried, pulling Lily close. "Your mother would be so proud." Later, Lily placed the letter beside the broken piano in their living room. She ran her fingers across the cracked keys and whispered, "Mom, we made it. Your music lives on through me." Eleanor, watching her, knew this was only the beginning. Moral of the story: dreams may seem impossible, and life may try to silence us. But with love, guidance, and perseverance, even broken instruments can create the sweetest music.